just sent a tweet out to Angel Stadium on Twitter. But hey, we're talking about when we did an update on all the hookers. Oh, there should be a press release for the next couple months.
Yo, what is up? Eddie's your boy Johnny Mags back at you once again. Joined as always with
Daniel Garcia.
And this is the All Angels podcast for the month of December here from Halo Haven's headquarters in Riverside, California. Joining us as always is Chris Security Johnson on the ones and twos, as you will, the producer. And we were just talking before we got started here. A lot of things happen, man. Like, not like huge, but pretty big stuff, and a lot of it really in the last. Well, how long has it been?
Yeah, last month. It's crazy. We were kind of recapping what we should lead off with, or how the podcast should go, and then we're kind of looking back on. We got some coaching hires, we got a player leaving, we got some free agent minor league guys picked up. So there's been quite a bit going on in the last month since our last podcast we've had.
Yeah, so I mean, let's get started. Like, first and foremost, we talk about where should we start. Well, let's start with the Ohtani news.
Yeah, the great Ohtani watch.
Ohtani watch 2017. Hopefully, it doesn't go into 2018.
No, I think he has until the 22nd.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay,
make his decision.
And so a lot of people are just talking about how the international money works and all this stuff. The Mariners leaped over everybody and have more money to offer, or however that works. But
yeah.
Big news. I mean, I saw a lot of tweets from it was Ken Rosenthal. I think might have tweeted that money is not an high priority to Ohtani.
No, it's not.
So we can talk about how the Mariners jumped ahead, but it doesn't really matter because Ohtani really just wants to. I think he probably wants to think it over. A lot of reports are saying he doesn't want to be somewhere where it's like crazy big market.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, the Angels, for the most part, I mean, we are a big market, but we're low key as well.
Yeah, and just for people that don't know or haven't been watching completely, there are 7 teams confirmed left in the Ohtani race. Or you have the Cubs, Dodgers, Padres, Giants, Angels, Rangers, and Mariners. Again, going over with the international pool money, the Mariners and the Rangers are just about the same. They both can offer $3.5 million, give or take a couple thousand. And then you have the Angels after that can offer them $2.3 million. And the other Cubs, Dodgers, Padres, and Giants can only offer them $300,000. So again, kind of like what you're saying, Ohtani has made it public that the money issue isn't going to be a big deal because give or take $1 million is the only difference between one team or another. So it's not like you can go make a huge big jump in salary. But just so Ohtani. For people that don't know, he's a big Japanese import coming over. Can both pitch and play and hit, and that's what he's actually looking to do when he comes over. Is both pitch and have opportunity to hit. Kind of like what you were saying too, is that a lot of trades are going in with other teams that add more of that pool money. That's why the Mariners were able to jump over the Rangers and stuff like that. So you see a lot of smaller deals working around Major League to try to jockey themselves. For them to make a better offer to Ohtani.
Right, and so like this whole Ohtani thing, like some people don't quite understand it because of how the international money works and what is this $20 million that somebody has to come up with or whatever. And apparently, and I don't know the details 100%, but I know Ohtani could have gotten more money if he would have waited like 2 more years.
2 more years because of his age. He's right. 24 right now. Kind of like how the American, I guess you would say, players, how they have to kind of serve that rookie contract the first 6 years. So they kind of think about it, okay, when you start at 20, they're going to count the 6 years for all these international players. So again, he's 24. If he would have waited 2 years, he would be free to sign any kind of contract. Right. And you would hear some, depends on where you read or who you listen to. But if he waited 2 more years and came over, he could have got up to $100,000 contract easy. Just off the hype alone and how well he's been doing in not only in his club team in Japan, but also seeing him in the WBC and stuff like that against, the top international competition. But yeah, right. He wants to come over now. Some of his requirements was like I said, he wanted to be on a West Coast team. So again, the only non-West Coast team on his list is the Cubs and the Rangers. And again, too, like you said, small market. He prefers a smaller market, so you think that kind of gets rid of the Dodgers. So I truly believe it might be between the Angels and the Mariners. I heard one time, I don't necessarily know if it was true, if it was his people saying it or someone with a quote unquote source it, but I heard that he wasn't necessarily interested in having or going to a team that had already an established
I read that.
Japanese player part of their history. He kind of wants to go and make his own footprint.
Oh, well, that puts us out of the market. Shigetoshi Hasegawa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you go to Seattle, you got Ichiro to compete with. So, there's a bunch of signs pointing to different teams. But again, I think if you ask me personally, I think it probably does come down to the Mariners or the Angels.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the Angels. I almost said Dipoto. Epler making moves to get money for the international, towards the international, whatever that is, shows you that they must have liked, because he made the move the other day after they met with Ohtani.
Right.
And that told me, like, okay, I think he thinks that something could happen, because, not only was it a great move to pick up what's his name, Maitan from the Braves, but it gave him space, more money or somehow.
Yeah, they well, the move I think you're talking about is the one they traded Jacob Pearson.
Oh, that's what it was.
The outfielder. Again, it kind of depends on where you look at, but he was the 5th overall prospect in the Angels farm system. But again, he's an outfielder.
Yeah.
With them now,
with
them now securing Upton.
Yeah.
For a handful of years, you got Trout, you got Calhoun. He wasn't necessarily a need. Kind of like what you're saying. You have Jemai, you have
Joe
Adele that can come up in another 3-4 years. So you were able to trade him off to I believe the Twins, and you were able to get another $1 million in that in that pool money. So again, all these little free agent signings, mid-season or mid-off-season trades, aren't the ones that are gonna be plastered all over ESPN or all over Fox Sports 1. But they are the ones that are kind of jockeying each team in position to make a better offer for Ohtani.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. So here's an email that we received on our email. It's allangelspodcast@gmail.com. It was sent in by Malik Abul. He said, "Yo, what up, boys? Good show. So when is something going to happen with the free agent market? Do you guys think it's a matter of just one guy signing and that is going to get the ball rolling? And honestly, what do you guys think of our chances of getting Ohtani? We did just talk about our chances about getting Ohtani. We like our chances. But when something happens, I think the whole baseball world is winning on Ohtani.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think because
especially the Angels.
Well, again, for people that know, he's a pitcher. He is a number 1 or number 2 pitcher in a rotation. He has very good stuff. He's going to have to mature as far as accuracy and be able to hit his spots. But as far as pure stuff, he's really top flight pitching. So again, there's no reason for a team to go out there and sign an Arrieta or sign some of these free agent or until Ohtani picks where he went. Now you can start moving pieces around.
Right.
Not only that, you got the Stan thing that's kind of hanging over the trade with Stan that Marlins want to try to get rid of.
Right.
And then too, if you're a team that's looking for a bat and you want to talk to the Marlins about Giancarlo, again, you're not going to go and do anything until you figure out what's going on with that.
Right.
So yeah, I think more so it is Ohtani.
Yeah.
Winter meetings are in, I believe, in
13th.
Next week. I believe next week
Yeah.
or the week after, and I think that's around the time. Well, maybe Ohtani will make a decision at the beginning of it, and then I think you can see a lot of action. I think once he decides where he's going to go, I think you'll see moves.
Yeah.
That's
That's usually
daily.
what happens to the winter meeting. So that'll lead us into another email that was sent in by Jasmine Beltran. She said, "So I keep seeing that people are arguing about what the Angels need. So my question, in your opinion, what should be the priority for the Angels? I say we go out and try to sign Moustakas and maybe a middle type rotation pitcher. But who? When does baseball season start already? Like I said, I mean, I think the Angels are biding their time, waiting on Ohtani. If they sign him, then we look where we go to next, okay? If we sign Ohtani, then maybe getting a middle of the rotation type guy is in top priority now.
Yeah, see,
Exactly. And then now if he signs somewhere else, the Angels will say, all right, let's focus our attention on Moustakas. Let's focus our attention on, Hosmer or somebody like that. So that answers that question as far as that. And for me, priority for the Angels, I don't know if there's exactly a top priority in my eyes. There's a lot of little things that we need to fix. Second base. Are we just going to stick with Valbuena at third? Or are we going to put Valbuena at first? Is Cron a possible trade piece if we don't sign Ohtani? There's a lot of things that are in play right now that, can happen. But like we mentioned, the world is waiting on Ohtani, and especially the Angels, because I do honestly think the Angels have a good chance of signing the guy.
Right, and kind of what you were saying, you get a full year now of Upton. So again, that left field question mark that we had coming into the beginning of last season, where you weren't necessarily sure what was going to happen. Yeah, you signed Maben, yeah, you signed Revere, but now to know that you have Upton signed for the next 5 years, you are able to get more pop. So now I think they shift. Again, this is all if they don't get Ohtani. And then they move away from that. I think now you try to go after Moustakas. I think is your number one priority.
Right.
Gives you another big bat to have in the lineup. And I was talking to some people earlier. Second base. Second base is one of those probably the bottom of my priority list, just because if you do sign Moustakas, then you got pop. And there was always those rumors they took interest in first baseman like Lucas Duda and Logan Morrison. So again, if you sign one of those guys, you're going to upgrade there, or at least you're going to be able to compete more so for with Crone there. You can have a little more competition and play the hot hand. Again, Valbuena is always still going to be in the mix. But second base to me is like you kind of either go with a secondary free agent guy, or you stay in house and you go Coward.
Yeah.
Granted, he's not going to probably bat 300 and do all this, but again, if you feel like you're a second baseman away and the trade deadline's coming up, then make the move.
Yeah, why not?
You don't have to make all these moves, and I think people get kind of carried away when the free agency starts.
Yeah.
We got to make moves. We got to do this. We got to do that. No, you can make some subtle moves here and there, set yourself up to where if you are able to get in a running, in a serious running, not like this last year where like they were 3 games out of the wild card and you were struggling at 500, like a serious competing for division, are all shooting on all cylinders. If you feel like they're a second baseman away, you're always gonna be able to make a move. You're always gonna make a move at a trade deadline.
Absolutely. Well, you touched on it. I mean, second base wouldn't be that much of a concern for many Angels fans had we have had Justin Upton all year.
Exactly.
The power numbers wouldn't have mattered. Second base could be filled by anybody. You can catch lightning in a bottle like Johnny Giovatella did for us for one season.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't have to break bank. You don't have to give away talent or prospects to pick up a guy like Ian Kinsler or whatever. And like you said, end of the season, we need somebody like that. Just go and make a move. It's not a big deal.
If you just look at the teams that this last year that made a run, a lot of them made moves and not even the trade deadline, the waiver deadline. Don't forget we got what was it called? Phillips and them at the waiver deadline.
Phillips and Upton.
Yeah, we didn't have it at the regular non-waiver deadline.
Yeah.
Same thing with Verlander. That was the Astros' big acquisition. Again, I think some people get too caught up in names and get too caught up and we got to make moves now. Like, no, calm down.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see what we have. Don't give up the farm for something that you don't know is going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were saying we should have done that for D. Gordon. We should have done that for D. Gordon. It's like, no, I don't. He's going to make $10 million next year. He's going to make up to $15 million by the end of his contract. I don't. He has a PED suspension already on his record, so that means he's one blown test for you missing out on the whole year.
Right.
So again, I think the Angels are good. Are fine the way they are. Let's aim for Moustakas. Let's aim for maybe an upgrade at first base, and then from there just kind of see what we need.
Well, that good segue into this podcast question that we got from Duncan Healy from Dead Horse, Alaska. Salute, my friend. He said, "How's it going, guys? Love getting love the podcast, getting my Angels fixed during the off season." Okay, so here we go. He said, "So it's obvious everyone wants to know what are we going to do. So many people get all upset that nothing has happened yet. No need to rush, everyone. Calm down. I don't believe everything you read. Don't believe everything you read or hear about what the Angels are going to do or not do. The winter meetings haven't even begun yet. It's almost comical how angry fans are getting that nothing has happened yet." I agree with Duncan 100%. I don't understand why it's more this year. I think it seems like our fans are getting real antsy, and I agree with them. The winter meetings is usually when everything starts to happen, everything starts to go, the GM meetings and all that stuff. Like you said so yourself, let's just take our time here, see what happens, and then we'll go from there.
Right, there's no need to rush into anything right now.
No rush at all. Voids will get filled up. We'll be fine. Okay, so since we're on listener questions right now, I'm going to touch on this one, which will get us into another topic. This one's from Edward Vizcaino, and he said, "What's up, fellas?" So that he sent us this when this happened. Just read that Oakland picked up Yusmeiro Petit. Would have loved to have kept the guy. $5 million a year was not a lot of money Do you guys happen to know if the Angels offered anything? Where do we go from here to replace valuable arm like Petit? Danny, you want to touch on that?
Yeah. Again, Petit signed for 2 years, $10 million. So again, like he said, $5 million per year. Went to the A's. You know, the Angels I believe, were trying to negotiate with him. I don't know if they didn't feel comfortable going to 5 years. Because again, if you look at Petit, he had an awesome year last year, great year last year.
Mhm.
But as far as history and age-wise, like he wasn't necessarily a young guy.
That's a funny thing. People think he's young and he's a prospect, and he was
right.
no.
He wasn't a prospect. Like
Yeah. It's like 33.
Yeah, 33 years old.
Yeah.
So again, he had a great year. Now, are you feel confident that he's going to continue it, or was that a career year for him?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you're necessarily not sure what to do. I'm sure the Angels probably were telling him, wait, let's figure out what we're going to do with this. Again, Ohtani, let's figure out what we're going to do with this and that. And maybe he just wanted some security, and they said, you know what, I want to sign now.
Yeah.
I want to have that security where I'm not waiting around. But you can't blame the guy for that. But again, he's a relief pitcher. You don't never know when their arm's going to go out, because there's never really a sign that, oh, he's on decline. It's usually hot, and then you're not, kind of deal. So,
yeah.
And kind of going with the Petit signing, maybe 2 or 3 days later, they end up signing Jim Johnson.
Yeah, it was almost right after.
Yeah, it was almost like, okay, fine, we'll do that, we'll do this.
Yeah.
Jim Johnson from the Braves. Again, not a young guy. He's 35 years old. So.
Well, he's a guy that I think he had back-to-back seasons of like 50 saves for Baltimore, one of the premier closers for 2 years. Then all of a sudden lost it. But that doesn't mean this guy can't turn it around, because people are so quick to jump. Oh, he sucks now, blah, blah, blah. What about Ryan Madson? That guy was great, then sucked, and now look at him now. He's serving a good role on a good team. You know, it doesn't mean that something good might not come out of Jim Johnson. It's possible that it could.
And then, too, like, if you think
You're not
about
spending
it,
that much money either.
if you think about it, too, before this last year, who was Petit? No one knew who Petit was or what he would do, and it was it was a big surprise to everybody.
Oh yeah.
You know, Petit's ERA the year before he came to the Angels was like 4.5.
Yeah.
Okay, Jim Johnson's ERA last year was like around 5. So I mean, it's not that big of a difference. Again, it depends on how you develop and how they work him into the system. If you feel comfortable. Was he dealing with an injury, a nagging injury all year long? Or just simple stuff. Like, obviously he's done it, so you think he still has it somewhat in him. Obviously he's not going to be the closer. I do not see him in a closer role at all.
Closer.
He will be a middle relief guy again. But again, if you get a good year, just a solid year out of him, then that's all you're using him for. Just a solid year. Sucks to see Petit go, because he was really good last year. But again, you don't know what's going to happen, because he was 34 and never had a year like that before. So you never know what it's going to hold for the next year.
Yeah, and like if we can make Jim Johnson a 7th inning guy,
right?
You know, hey man, that's great. Get us 3 outs, get the ball to Keenan, get the ball to
He still
Cam.
had 22 saves last year too. For as lousy as he pitched on a lousy team, by the way, he still had 22 saves and 20 saves the 2 years in Atlanta. So it's not like it's batting practice with him. So I feel comfortable.
You know, outfielder, all that good stuff. So other news for the Angels in the last month was a few like front office moves. Not so much front office either. On field. Let's talk about the front office move first. Brad Ausmus.
Yes, special assistant to the GM.
Special assistant to the GM. That's usually like the spot that is like a hold spot for him to become a manager later.
So yeah, to kind of stay in the game and stay connected to the players and just Major League Baseball in general. So that's the same thing for people that remember that the same position Bud Black held for a year, and then the next year he went off to coach Colorado this last season. So I guess if nothing bad is going to happen from him being around, you know, but I just don't expect that to be the missing link kind of deal. So see how that goes.
And then the Angels did a move where Ron Renicky became the bench coach for the Boston Red Sox?
Yes, with all their movement.
Yeah, and so that opened up a spot for the Angels. So Dino Ebo goes back to third base coach.
Right. And
the Angels went ahead and brought in former Angel catcher who was infamous for being behind the plate when A.J. Pierzynski faked Doug Eddings, the umpire behind the plate in Game 4 of the 2005 ALCS. Josh Paul becomes the new bench coach for the Angels, and a lot of people already were raising questions. Did he become the bench coach because he will become the manager at the end of this season because Mike Scioscia's contract is over? It's always funny because the love-hate relationship between the Angels fans and Mike Scioscia is pretty funny. I think too early to even say any of that. I want to focus on next year. But Josh Paul, I mean, I think he was a bench coach or he was a coach in New York.
Yeah, no, he was he was a coach. He was, I think, the catching coach or catching something within player development
with the Yankees.
Yeah,
and he's always been a guy who's kind of gritty, kind of like a grinder. Every catcher is, and seems like catchers become managers. Mike Scioscia, I think was Joe Torre a catcher. I'm not 100% sure. I think he was. Then you have Joe Girardi, of course.
Right.
Maybe Josh Paul will be considered. If Mike Scioscia does not sign another contract at the end of the season, he may be considered. For the Angels spot. But we'll get to that when it gets here. As we do every podcast, you raise a poll question.
Right.
And you want to get into the poll?
Yeah. Going back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier, the Ohtani signing. Again, for people that don't know, this guy plays in Japan. He pitches and plays DH. Hasn't played a field position in the last 2 years, I believe, and even then it was kind of sparingly. So the question was easy. If the Angels are able to sign Ohtani, what two positions would you want him playing? And it was pitcher DH, pitcher first base, pitcher third base, or pitcher outfield. And the landslide, obviously, pitcher DH was 67%. So I think anywhere he goes, AL-wise, that's what's going to happen. Now, if he does go on an NL team, I don't know exactly where they would put him. I don't know if they would put him on first base. They would put him. He did play a little outfield in his, I believe, in his amateur career, but that was forever ago. So I don't know where they would feel comfortable putting him. But DH would be the more comfortable spot for him. Pitch on one day, rest the next. DH maybe the next 2 days, rest, and then back into his normal spot in the rotations. Is what I've heard. His possible schedule could be, because he's not going to pitch one day and then every day of his in between starts he's not going to play DH every day he's not pitching.
No, that's why I don't see him going to a National League team, because it's just what do you do with the guy? If he goes to a National League team, he's pretty much, you're only going to bat when you pitch, and that's it. And he wants to be able to have at least an opportunity to bat when he's not pitching, and that's only going to happen in the American League. So the Angels. I didn't. This question was raised on a few. I think on Hadel Haven was, if the Angels sign him and he wants to play, well, he's gonna have to take the bat away from Albert Pujols to play DH. The Angels already have a set DH in Albert Pujols. What problems will occur there? I don't know if any problems will occur. That's the day where you give Albert Pujols a day off.
Or if you need to, you put Albert at first. Again, Albert wouldn't be playing first base all the whole time. Again, you're talking about maybe 2 or 3 days out of the week. Ohtani will be DH, probably just 2.
Right.
And I'm sure Albert can play two days,
for sure.
As long as it's not like a Saturday night, Sunday afternoon game. If it's like a Monday night, Tuesday night game, or a Wednesday night, Thursday night game, I'm sure Albert can do that just fine, and then he'll fill in that DH role the rest of the week. I mean, again, you're not asking Albert at his age to play DH or play first base every day.
Yeah.
And then there are pictures going around. He had an event. Talking about earlier, he had an event. I believe in the DR. I think it was last week or a couple weeks ago. But anyways, he took pictures. The big event. He looks like he's lost weight. Now, hopefully, again, this will be his first off season healthy. No surgeries, no restriction on training, no restriction on conditioning. So again, if he's able to lose some weight and take pressure off his legs, his knees, his ankles, his joints, I don't see why he couldn't play first base for 2 days out of the week.
Yeah.
Or 2 days every 5 days. I don't see why not, because again, you're not asking him to do a whole lot. You're playing first base. It's not exactly a physically demanding position of a catcher or anything like that.
Alpha, even. You need to run much. Yeah.
Right. So I think if he loses weight, he's able to stay healthy and have a strong conditioning off season that he hasn't been able to do since I would say
here pretty much.
Yeah, like the last 4 or 5 years, like he hasn't had a complete healthy off season. So again, if they sign Otani, they must feel somewhat comfortable with the fact that Albert is staying in shape, able to move better, able to train better this offseason. So I think it's very possible that that will be the answer for the in between.
Oh yeah, and then with Albert losing weight, you're nimbler on your feet, you're lighter on your feet. Even standing there at first base isn't as demanding. I know how it can be. You're standing there and your back starts to kind of hurt a little bit. Yeah. But the fact that you're a lot lighter on your feet, a little nimbler, maybe a little stronger core-wise, could help him out a lot more tremendously. And like you said, playing 1 or 2 days a week at first base, I actually think he would love to do that.
Yeah, because
he's some pride in there.
Yeah, and I think he was really reluctant last year to be like to kind of give in and be like, okay, I'll be the full-time DH. I think he wants to. He's always been a guy that kind of had the pride, took pride in his defense, took pride in playing first base and playing every day. And obviously that's not going to happen now. But if he can still get out there a couple days out of the week and play first base and give this Otani kid a chance to bat and play DH, I'm sure he's always said too, he's always liked playing first base more than DH because he feels like you're more into the game, you're more you're not sitting around, you bat in the first inning and then you might not get back up until the third or fourth, but you're not doing anything in that time. You're literally just sitting down. Yeah, maybe you go down to the cage and hit a couple balls in between, but it's not the same thing as being out there, being part of the game, feeling the energy, and being able to move around. So I think mentally, I think that would help him too, being out there a couple games.
Right. So, okay, so let's touch real quick, and I don't know if you did your research on this guy. The Angels picked up that kid Maitan from the Braves.
Kevin Maitan, Maitan, and then Levon Soto.
Yeah, and so Maitan, apparently, the Angels signed this guy, and he became our #1 prospect.
Overnight.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, okay. I mean, how good is this guy? I kind of briefly looked at his numbers, and they didn't jump off the page at me, but he is only 17 years old.
Well, both of them. So just some background behind it. Both kids came from the Braves organization. Their GM, or ex-GM now, got caught in a huge controversy where he was cheating with the international signing rules and just doing some shady stuff, and the MLB caught it. So pretty much the punishment for the Braves was this GM guy, he's gone. He's banned. He's a Pete Rose. He's banned for life.
Yeah.
And now all the international players they signed in that time period, which was a couple of years, they were granted their flat out free agency. You know, no more thing in the system. You are out. You can sign with whoever, wherever you want. So again, the Angels picked up shortstop. Well, both are infielders. Shortstop Kevin. You got to figure out. Maitan, and then Levon Soto with both 17.
The Maitan.
Yeah, they're both shortstops. Kevin, who is, I guess now the Angels' #1 prospect, or at least top 3, they say could transfer to a third base. Again, these guys are 17 years old.
Yeah, they're 4 years away.
Yeah, they're both played in Rook Ball last year, so I don't think we might see them toward the end of next year, maybe
in Empire.
But I can see them starting with a low Class A, and then maybe working their way up depending how it goes. But again, this guy was like a top 5 prospect in the Braves organization.
Yeah.
And Braves organization until recently was one of the better ones in
and I think he
baseball.
was number 38 overall.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And this will be the Angels' first top 100
since Mike Trout
prospect, and probably. Probably. So again, the Angels get this isn't going to help the Angels next year. This isn't going to help the Angels the year after that. But later on, 2020, 2021.
Core group of guys is set there. You have, and I read the list and I got to about number 4. It was number 1 was Maitan, number 2 was Joe Adele, number 3, surprisingly enough, was not our friend Jahmai Jones. It was Matt Thaiss, followed by number 4 being Jahmai Jones. So I mean that's a good core group.
Yeah, I would say Thaiss might just give the advantage over Jones because he's older. He's closer to being in the majors. So that to me is probably why they ranked him over that.
Yeah. So I mean, little moves here that could pay off large in the future, man. And that's the Angels farm system is horrendous. People, you got to realize this: when the Angels don't make a trade, it's because they have nobody to trade. When people want to get rid of a good player, they usually want prospects in return. We haven't had that in years. So, I think the last core group of real good prospects that we had was that group with Howie Kendrick, Casey Kotchman, Kendry Morales, Jared Weaver. That was like the last core group of prospects that we really had. And looking at this list now, I'm liking the Adele, especially after seeing Jemai Jones and then an
Right.
Empire.
I mean, these guys are all young. They're all, I think they're all under 20.
Yeah.
So it is going to be a little bit before they're able to
make any impact.
But it'll be cool to watch over the years to see how they develop and see them go through the system and see them, maybe switch positions. Maybe now you put Odell in second, Jones in left or right, and then you put these kids at shortstop in third or shortstop in second. I mean, again, these guys are so young; they can develop into different positions, and now can fit holes in Angels that we don't even know they might have in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, just because you come up as a center fielder or shortstop or left fielder doesn't mean that's what you're going to play if you do make it to the big leagues.
Right.
My brother spent a lot of time with the Inland Empire 66ers in the early to mid 2000s working there, and there was a guy. Hot shot shortstop prospect. His name was Adam Jones, shortstop for the Inland Empire 66ers. Now he's a superstar center fielder for the Baltimore Orioles. So anything can change, man. That's a drastic change, shortstop to center field. So, anything can happen. Okay, so are you pretty much? Is there anything else you want to talk about before we get into like other side questions that we got here?
No, I mean that's
pretty much it, right?
That's the majority of what happened in the month. We have to, we're good.
Okay, so this question was sent in the email with Malik, that Malik sent us, and we talked about it before on a little pre-podcast discussion. He asked also, what do you guys think of Angel Stadium? Is it time for the Angels to get a new stadium in the near future? What is your thoughts on that, Daniel?
I mean, I like Angel Stadium not only because of how it is, but like where it's located. Like it's it's super easy to get to. It's right off the freeway. It's a good area to kind of just hang out in before. Upgrades, I would love upgrades just here and there. We were kind of talking before the podcast, and if anyone's seen the photos from the Eagles are practicing there because they're playing the Rams this week. But the both big screens on the left and right field are completely gone. So it looks like they're upgrading that. So if you get, better boards, better high definition boards, and I think too a lot of it's going to come down to what they offer the fans there as far as food and just little stuff to do before and after the game. I think would help. But as far as like move, I don't think we did need to move. I think they're perfectly fine where they're at.
Yeah, Angel Stadium has a unique character to it. I grew up with the enclosed football stadium, Angel Stadium, and I loved it. The orange seats, the green, the characters on the walls, And when they redid it in this new version of Angel Stadium, it seemed like a brand new stadium to me. So. And now, it was, I think, 1998 when it opened. So that's already, 20 years?
Yeah.
So, that's a long time. And there hasn't really been significant upgrades or anything added to it. Chris was actually talking about how it was always weird to him that you could never see the game from behind the rocks. And my little suggestion was maybe they add a little kind of catwalk thing where it's elevated a little higher, and you can have standing room only kind of seating,
like
they do in Kansas City.
Yeah, like they have over to at the Bud Light bar or whatever.
Over in right field.
Right, super right field.
That would be a suggestion. I love Angel Stadium. You touched on how easy it is to get there, but also how easy it is to get out.
Yeah. You hear some stories from some, and it's like
Stadium.
It's like one way in, one way out kind of deal. There's not a whole lot of options as far as how to get out there. Yeah, I always enjoy it, and we stay for the whole game. We stay for the fireworks. We stay for all. So, there's a lot of people that leave early to beat the traffic. But even when we stay the full time,
you're 20 minutes? Maybe?
Yeah, and then you're there enough. You know where to park to make it even easier on yourself. So it's not terrible. I like how the bullpens are stacked. I think that's something very rare that you'll be able to see both bullpens like that. Usually you'll see one on one side and one on the other side.
Right.
There's not a lot of ballparks that have them stacked like that.
It's a cool little thing.
But as far as I kind of want to deal more with the Angels, on the field, as far as uniform. I would love for them to bring back more like the throwback uniform and stuff like that.
I would love that. I would love a navy blue jersey.
Like an alternate.
Throw me something.
Yeah, I mean, I think if there's
an alternate,
I know we've kind of talked about it a little bit. The spring training hats both came out. So everyone, a lot of teams, I'm not gonna say every team, but a lot of teams have
mostly.
have like two caps. They're like main traditional logo, and then like an alternate logo. And the alternate logo looks awesome, especially when it's something special like spring training. But the Angels is the same spring training cap the last 3-4 years in a row. The only thing that changed,
different patch.
Yeah, this different patch. This was a different year on the side. And yes, I will be a sucker, and yes, I will buy that new hat because yes, I like the new patches. Anyway. But it would still be awesome if there was a different kind of alternate logo. And the Angels don't have an alternate logo just to begin with.
We're boring like that, dude.
And I think
it's always been like that.
I think if they were to think of one or bring an old one back, even if it's just like the California logo.
On Sundays, you wear your California Angels uniform.
Or if you don't want to go the whole California thing, bring back the small A. I mean, you can still use that as the Angels.
Yeah,
I mean,
just don't bring back Periwinkle.
Yeah, well, every once in a while, who knows?
No.
Yeah, so just I think I would love them to do more of a throwback, more of a, every once in a while they do bust out the old LA uniforms, and I love those.
It's so rare.
That's like once a year,
Yeah.
and then you have teams like the Pirates, teams like the Mariners did this last year. And
I think the Orioles do the all orange too
all
on Fridays.
A lot of those teams do like the throwback on Sundays.
Yeah.
I know the Pittsburgh does, and the Mariners do. They can do something like that. That to me, that would be more better for the fans than anything they can really do.
Not even that. The revenue that they could bring in from like someone who never saw that uniform, who's 15 years old, goes, "Holy crap, that looks awesome! Mom, buy me a hat, buy me a jersey."
I like the old school pullover ones without the buttons in the front.
Yeah.
See, like it's
or a hat, dude. A navy blue hat with maybe the red bill.
Yeah, there's something different. I mean, there has to be a group of like at least like 4 or 5 people there. That you can let's try this. Let's graphic design this. Spin it around the room and see what people like. But to me, it's just like, if they were able to just do something like that, I think that'd be way cooler than, because the Angel Stadium is what it is. It's a huge ass building. Not like you do a whole lot of changes, but like if you can affect the on-field visuals and kind of get fans into it again like that, and like, oh man, they're wearing their 1980 whatever uniforms this week. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Well, I mean? I'll tell you this. Back in 1995, I don't know if you remember, Chris. It was Turn Black the Clock night at Angel Stadium.
I was there.
So was I. They played the Baltimore Orioles. The only reason I wanted to go was because they were wearing their 1966 California Angels throwback uniform, and they gave out a replica hat, California Angels hat.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fucking sold out. Like the whole stadium was. That's the first time I'd ever seen it that sold out.
And on top of all that, they sold the food and all
Yeah,
the
for like 50
concessions
cents,
for
right? Whatever it was.
original 1961 prices.
Yeah.
So people were throwing hot dogs all over the place.
Okay, maybe about that reminds me of the whole
it was out of control.
disco demolition night
Oh,
in
yeah,
Chicago.
yeah.
That actually
Yeah, I went a little awry, but I'll never forget that game. It was my 13th birthday. And also, I remember Eddie Murray hitting a home run.
Yeah.
And then I was throwing.
Yeah.
On the Orioles at that time.
And I have a baseball card
Cool night.
of JT Snow in that uniform on that night. It's an upper deck JT Snow card, and it just stands out because I was there. But like you touched on, Daniel, that was the reason I made my parents take me was because they were wearing throwback uniforms that night.
You see the same thing. And they have the alternate red, but man,
That's already.
that alternate red is almost literally now their
they use
majority.
They use it
Yeah,
every
that's
day. They use it more than their whites.
Whites are great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
if they can change it up, like something like that, just give the fans something else to talk about. I mean, at the end of the day, baseball is kind of one of those sports where it happens every day, but for the casual fan, you need something to talk about. You need something to kind of stir interest in. And if that's a jersey swap or just a promotional deal, hey, kind of like you said, turn back the clock. Let's make it a weekend. Make it, maybe you each day, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you use a different era. Whatever. Periwinkle can be on Sunday.
Every Friday,
whatever.
every Sunday they have.
Make it, again, they could turn around and sell those same jerseys in the store, and I guarantee you they're going to make some money, just like they do with the 4th of July jerseys, the Mother's Day jerseys, the Father's Day jersey. They do all that for the money.
This would be your all year long thing.
Yeah, exactly. You can keep them in the store. And
I'll tell you what, I would go and buy me a Mike Trout jersey with the old CA.
Yeah,
on it, whatever,
So I mean, besides that would be my kind of upgrade to Angel Stadium is the jerseys on the players.
Mine would be more bobbleheads, like
Yeah.
Dodger Stadium.
More
Or
bobbleheads.
giveaway.
Well, this last year they were good with
Yeah, but they're all
bobbleheads.
Mike Trout.
They're all Mike Trout. I would like to see like a couple.
Maybe an up then.
Well, a couple like legends ones, kind of like what they did with Nolan Ryan this year.
Yeah.
Do one, do two. You know, you can do a Chuck Finley one. You can do.
Chuck Finley would be good. Tim Salmon already had one, but you can do.
You can do it again. I
do it
mean,
again.
it wasn't as like it was last
Tom
year.
looking over there. We had the Downing Carew
Carew.
in 2002.
But like you do, yeah.
Or
But
you can go to the 2002 team and do a Spezio one. I mean, that was
Yeah,
the
there
most
you go.
important home run in Angels history.
do something like or
You know?
a Percival. Just
Oh yeah, Percival would be awesome.
just do some kind of throwback, couple throwback. Have them there throughout the first pitch. Make it a whole big deal. You know, if Vladdy gets into the Hall of
A
Fame,
Vladdy one.
yeah, get a Vladdy one. I mean,
They're doing a Vladdy one this year.
are they doing a Vladdy
see,
one?
there you go.
See there, so
They're
that's there's one legend,
they're
one
trying
down.
to get him to go and it's an Angel.
Sweeten up
That's
the
a
pot.
Bry, yeah,
They-
it's a Bry.
Come on, Expos. What are you gonna do now, huh?
What's your move? Well, you can't do it.
Oh, that's right. Ooh.
Here's another question from Duncan Healy, our friend from Dead Horse, Alaska. And this is actually to Chris. I said, Johnny, Chris, I heard the podcast with the quote, unquote, the curator. How awesome. Curator, where did your love for collecting come from and how did it become Halo Haven?
Well, Johnny, it started a long time ago. We were talking about your question before today's show, and I was just thinking about, as a child, what did I do? What did I collect? I collected all sorts of junk, and I guess today I'm kind of a hoarder. But even back in the day, I started collecting. I used to send out letters all summer long to different teams, asking them for their fan package and claiming to be their biggest fan.
Oh, wow.
And so the main thing I wanted was their season schedule. So I used to collect season schedules, and I'd have them like on like this book, and that was my deal. And then even as a kid, I started like making like mini stadiums like out of materials. I remember having like a backstop made out of a strawberry container, making clay Angel Stadium replicas in high school in ceramics class. So I feel like the curation was always there.
Yeah,
I didn't
very
know,
deep down.
Yeah, I didn't call it curation. That name was given to me actually last season by Johnny. He just kind of came up with it at the 66ers.
Yeah, that's
I
right,
remember.
66ers,
We were right there in the Hangar 24 patio. Came up with that name, but I've always collected stuff. And it's progressed over the years, and it's kind of got out of control, depending who you asking.
And it's not just like Angel stuff either, right? You collect like
Yeah, I collect history stuff. I collect autographs. I collect like real stuff. Like I got a Civil War cannonball I picked up a few years ago. It's in my house.
That's insane.
Hopefully it doesn't explode. But stuff like that, and I just like old vintage baseball stuff. But yeah, that's kind of where it started. I've always had it in my blood, and was making like mini Angel Stadium stuff, like in wiffle ball fields as a kid. Had like a little big A on top of my roof.
Dang.
So
That's awesome.
Thanks for the question.
Well,
That's
the second
awesome.
part was how did it become Halo Haven? Like, where did Halo Haven come from?
Halo Haven, the whole concept. We started off 2010 collecting Angels stuff. Always been an Angels fan, but being at the 2010 Home Run Derby and just looking out there and said, hey, let's turn the garage into something else. So basically drywalled the garage, built a wall, just went crazy, put down the fake AstroTurf, got stadium seats, lockers from a local high school, and then this whole name of Halo Haven. Haven being like a refuge from the ordinary. We wanted to do something different. Saw a lot of Angels fan stuff out there. It's good and all, but it just didn't represent who we were. And so just kind of started there, and then it became, a meetup experience in the parking lot. And then fast forward years later, last year we met John, and he already had his All Angels podcast going, and met Daniel actually at a watch party in downtown Riverside, and now we're friends, and met John, and then now we're both in Daniel's wedding, so things have really, who would have thought back then that, this would be the case, but in talking to someone in Dead Horse, Alaska,
Yeah,
thought
that's
that would
insane.
be the case. So
That's insane.
that's awesome. Thanks for the follow.
Yeah, man, no doubt. I stand in Halo Haven and I remember the first time I came here, and I came to pick up some pennants that Chris had made for me, some Bobby Grich pennants, because Bobby Grich is my mom's favorite baseball player. And I was like, I gotta get my mom one of those pennants. And I remember you showed me in here, and I was just in like awe of this because I myself am a collector too. I just haven't. I don't have as much stuff as Chris, but I think I do have a lot of old weird stuff. Like my thing was the Angels Halos magazines, the Halo magazine. My dad has some from the PCL Angels days, and I got old enough where he was just like, here, they're yours, take care of them. I cherished them, and even when I was a little kid, I would buy two programs, one to rip pages out of and post them up on my wall, and the other one I'd put in a little sleeve thing and put it away. And so I have Halo magazines from years, even before I was born. They were my dad's, but I started collecting like all the stadium giveaways. My mom, my dad, my brother, and myself would go. My brother didn't care for his giveaway. I would always care for mine, so he'd give me his, and then I'd take my mom and dad. So I'd always have like 3 or 4 of that. So I have a lot of old stadium giveaways from the 80s, from Angel Stadium, stuff like that. And I have dabbled on the eBay market. Like that kind of got me in trouble a little bit a few years back, where I would just, oh man, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy that, but
I'm broke.
yeah, and so I'm a bit of a collector myself. So when I came in here, I'm like, holy crap, this place is insane, and it definitely is a refuge from the ordinary, because this is not ordinary. When you come in here, you're saying this is like angel heaven, man. Like, you know?
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about it too. Like the main goal was to recreate kind of like every facet of Angel Stadium.
It's pretty
so
much
like,
here,
so
yeah.
all the landmark stuff, the trademarks, like the
You got
big
the big
A, with that's where the TV is, with the light up halo.
You got this thing over here.
So the front of the stadium where it says Angel Stadium of, and kind of like, and then it says Angel Stadium of Riverside. Then we have that rock fountain, and that was kind of the one thing that we needed, and I wanted so much, and we kind of liberated that from someone's backyard after they were moving. So saw all those little aspects of the stadium. Got the hot dog machine, rolling hot dogs during
You even got the
games,
little
stuff like that.
the little like patch of grass by the rock pile
Yeah.
even lifted over here, and then old Anaheim Stadium seats, all that good stuff. It's crazy. It's cool. But no, man, Duncan, thank you for being a listener in Dead Horse, Alaska, man. When you first sent us an email and we thought you were joking, and we looked it up on the map and go, holy crap, that's pretty far, and it's pretty insane. You know, I have the wrestling podcast, and wrestling fans are pretty crazy, but to have an Angels fan in Dead Horse, Alaska, it's pretty crazy. You know, the wrestling podcast, we get guys from the UK, and that's just because wrestling, well, we're a bunch of nerds, but an Angels fan in Dead Horse, Alaska, bro, that's crazy. I don't think we have any more follow-up questions that some people wrote in. I think we pretty much took care of it. I'm just kind of double checking. Nope, we're good there. Anything else you want to touch on, Daniel, before we close this show off?
No, I mean, that's it. Again, winter meetings are coming up, so expect some big moves then. We'll be back in January with next month's podcast. But yeah, so again, send a question. We'll start collecting questions now or whenever at allangelspodcast@gmail.com. Again, you can look us up on Twitter or even on Instagram. It's Halo_Haven on both Instagram and on Twitter. So if you want to contact one of us or just, give us a follow, go ahead and do that. iTunes, subscribe to us on iTunes, write a review. Again, we're trying to figure out how to do this better for you guys.
Yeah.
Write a review, what you like, what you don't like, ideas, just throw stuff out there and, throw it at a wall, see if it sticks kind of deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much it.
We had a little podcast meeting a few weeks ago, and we got some ideas in the works, and those are things that we're gonna kind of tinker with and play with, mess with before the season starts. That we got a lot of stuff that we want to get out there for you guys to make this not just us talking about Angels baseball, but adds a little things here and there that kind of are a little different, maybe once a month segments or whatever. I know we want to involve the fans more. So like Daniel said, shoot us your emails, follow us on the social media platforms, and we'll do our best to kind of, answer your guys' questions and all that stuff. We're pretty good at that. If
Right.
Daniel and Chris are on top of like the whole social media thing, and if I see a comment on there, I'll jump in there real quick and throw my 2 cents in there too. So I can't stress enough how awesome it is to have you guys listening to us and then getting these email questions sent to us. it's insane. So thank you guys again for giving us a listen. Big shout out to Chris the Curator Johnson for having us in studio here at Halo Haven headquarters. As always, man, I'm Johnny Mags.
I'm Dan Garcia.
And this has been another edition of the All Angels Podcast. Stay tuned next month. Hopefully by then, there'll be some spatches.
And only 112 days to opening day.
There you go. And which means that's what? Roughly like 70 to 60 days before spring training?
There you go.
Yes.
Get
All
ready.
right. So that's going to wrap it up. You guys have a great Christmas, holiday, whatever you guys celebrate.
Happy New Year's.
Happy holidays, Happy New Year's. We'll see you guys in 2018. So literally, we will see you next year.
Yep.
Peace out. You guys have a good one.